Hello everyone. In this video we are going to see how can we add a feature into existing app without breaking the whole app. What change we are going to do here is that, let's say I have designed this To-Do app around 2018, and after that a lot of UX change has happened in that app. For example, when I create some task, if I set priority to 1, it shows the priority color here as a bar here. Since that, the design has changed a lot. For example, if you see in the Todoist app design, you will come across that design has been changed from orange, like this circle, into that priority color instead of having a bar. So we are going to change this in our existing design without breaking the actual behavior. We are just changing the UI, not the behavior. So first thing, before we make any changes to this UI, we need to have a test in place in order to verify that the behavior is the same, and when we change the UI, it remains the same except the UI part is changed. Now we don't want to test the whole app here, we just want to test the row which is going to change here. So in our case, this is basically a task row which is responsible for building this UI. Now before we make any changes here, we need to make sure how much test we have covered. So I'll run the test here, generate the coverage and open that file. So if we go into home, if we go into task, the task row, it says 95% of changes are tested. So it's a good indicator that majority of the portion is being tested already. But one catch here is that this tests the behavior but not exactly the UI. So how do we make sure that the UI which we are going to change is testable and the other part of the UI is not affected? So to test the UI, we have a feature called golden test in Flutter, which basically takes the type of widget you want to test a UI on and then match with the actual screenshot of that file. Now if you are running the test for the first time, you have to generate this file, else it will fail. But once after you have generated, you can match it with whatever finder you are providing here. So let's just write some code. So we'll follow the same pattern we did previously. Here we are going to create pages, and in pages we are going to create a raw task test. Raw task test. We'll write our main program here. Now first thing is that now since we are creating a separate file, we might need this helper class again and again. So it's better to move in a helper class. So I'll just create a file called helper dot and I'll move this and I'll move it here. Import necessary things, and since it's not there, I'll just import the helper class here. I'll just make sure that it's still passing. So yeah, it's working as expected. Now we can move to our raw task here, and now here we'll write our first golden test, basically, which is test widget is task row golden. So first what we'll do here is we'll just await and pump our test widget, which is basically a task row, and then we need to wrap into material widget because all widget requires this material theming. So we'll use our helper class here and then we'll wrap into it material app. Now it requires a task in order to fetch those details and show it as a row. So what we can do is we can just create a task here, and we need to this import as well, and then create the task. So one way to just save your time instead of creating that new task again, what I'll do is I'll just go to the home. I'll just see how I created this task, and then I'll just copy paste it here, and it requires color, so I'll just import the color. Now you might be see that this task creation might be repetitive a lot of places. So for that there is a pattern called test data builder pattern. We are not going to cover in this video, but if you want to learn more about test data builder, you can check this blog called test data builder. There are other blogs as well, but I highly recommend this blog. So now coming back to our test, I'll just bump the widget. Now we want to create a UI for this image. Basically take a screenshot of this UI and save it and just match it. So for that we use expect later, and then we'll find what type of element we want to take a screenshot of. So here we'll use by type, and we want to take the screenshot of our task row here, and then we'll match to our golden file. Basically I'll just name it raw task.png. Now if I run this test, it will fail, saying that raw task image could not be compared against a non-existing file. So we don't have this file yet. So how do we generate a file? For that we have a command called flutter update golden, and we'll define the path for the test file which we want to run test for. So for example, here in our test folder we'll go to pages, and then okay, so this should be called task. So we'll go into pages, go to the task, and then we'll run golden. So there's a spelling mistake here, golden. Okay, I need to add a flutter.test here. Now you see all tests passed, and when we come here we see a new file called raw task, and it basically loaded the UI here, which pretty much looks similar to what we did here, but it's not rendering the font, but that's okay. We just want to match a UI for now. We'll see how can we fix that font later. So now it's showing the UI, but I now currently it's showing a white one, I think, which is not clearly visible. I'll change that into a different priority so at least we can see it here. So what I'll do it here is I'll commit here, and I'll just change my priority to 2, and then I'll run those tests again. It passed, and now we can see that orange line here. So now we have successfully able to add a raw task test here. Now if we run this test, it will match this expected later by finding this task row, and it will match again this file, and now our test is passing. So now we have created a good safety net around the UI part. So what I'll do is I'll just add that and commit it now, and then we'll write a new design changes into this existing app, and then we'll update our screenshot to match that UI. There is one issue which we need to resolve. So take a full page here, but we want to have this small size to be tested. So I'll just use a utility helper method to do that. So I'll go to the helper class, and I'll just create an extension, wrap to the size for golden test, and I'll give the size. This basically what it does is just resize your whole boundary of your widget to the given size. So it will only load the part which we have provided as a size here. So I'll just go into rock test here, and then since the extension, I can just wrap it here, and I'll give a size of 400 by 50, and then I'll run this golden test again just to update the. So it says that the test failed because we have overflow here. So you can see that now I have set height very small, it's being overflowed, which we don't want. So I'll just increase the height here to 75, and then I'll run the test again, and it passed. So basically this is how you can play around with the size you want and see what kind of size works for you. So in our case, what we can do is we can just make changes to task row inside and just keep matching with the golden test we have it here. So let's say if I go into task row, and now basically if you see, this border is basically this code, which is basically having a line here and then all the content coming here. Now we want to change it into a circle. So one thing we notice here is that using a golden test as a UI feedback loop is not that efficient, because you need to make a changes into your production code, then you need to come back, run the command, update the image and check the image. So it's a very slow process, which is not the aim of having a test and refactoring pattern. So I think the best way here is to leverage the existing tool which is provided by Flutter, which is basically a hot reload. So what I'll do here is I'll just use the hot reload feature. I'll make the changes in the code right here and I'll just test it whether it's being shown properly on the UI or not. And once I'm satisfied with that result, I'll just update the golden test. So let me just write a code for that. Now you can see that we have the desired design we want. So now what we can do is, just to make my point, since we are able to do this with a very fast feedback loop in a hot reload, we can go to now and just run and update the test. Now here draw task and we'll see that we have this orange circle right now here. So now we have a UI test which matches our existing design. And just to be on the safer side, we will run all the tests to make sure that we have not broken anything. So yeah, everything is passing, so we have not broken any behavior yet and we are able to modify the existing code safely. So to conclude, first write a test or the type of test you want to have, which the kind of the changes you are making in the app. For example, if you are making a UI change, then have some UI test. If you are making some behavior change, then have some behavior change there. And if anything slows you down, then try to find a better way to make the feedback loop faster, which is in our case, if we try to make a change and run golden test every time, which makes us slow. So it's better to leverage Flutter hot reload feature. And once we are happy with the design, then we can commit or make a change to that golden test and then verify against that. So that's it for this video, and in upcoming video we'll cover the remaining part of the home screen which we have not tested it yet. We'll cover that into next video. So thank you. So if you like this video, then please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.